This stream is about to start. We'll talk about code or whatever we'll talk about today. It's about to start, so please hang tight while I check that everything is okay. Sound check, camera check, lights check. How's my hair? Oh, wait, I don't have any hair. Maybe put some pants on and I am good to go. So get ready wherever you are, 'cause this stream is about to start. Get ready wherever you are, 'cause this stream is about to start.
Crazy.
Hello everyone and welcome to another meeting of the C++ Digital Signal Processing JUCE study group, which at this point should be just called hanging out with my internet friends. Hello internet friends.
Hello internet friend.
Yeah, we have Cwits and Bull on the call already, and perhaps other people will join soon. How's everyone doing?
We're doing fine, thank you. How are you?
I am doing okay. Yeah, I'm hanging in there. And
Tell us about the marathon.
Oh, yeah.
Half marathon.
I ran a half marathon this afternoon, and it is great to be back because I was running a couple of years ago, like 3-4 years ago. I was running, I trained for a marathon. I ran a marathon, which was kind of underwhelming because I was preparing for a race on an actual day and then it got canceled because of COVID. Anyway, I ran the marathon anyway just by myself, and then because of life reasons I stopped running, and I wasn't running for 1 or 2 years, but I started running again in December, and I just finished my first half marathon since restarting the training this afternoon. I'm very happy about it. And
cool.
Yeah, it feels great to be back.
Sounds healthy.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
it was effortless, and I think that's how it should be, because and I have done this when I was training for the marathon. I was pushing myself too hard, and I was starting to feel my knees hurt and that sort of thing. So the way that I'm doing now is healthy, not feeling any pain. I'm just feeling very tired.
Hey guys.
Hello, Fotis.
Nice. Hey, Fotis.
You may notice a change of scenery and headphones. I'm in a friend's house right now.
Oh.
Okay. Very colorful headphones.
Yes, they're Razer.
Oh,
All
you're a
right.
gamer now.
I look like
Is that a tube radio in the background?
a tube radio.
To your left.
Oh yeah, I guess it is. Yeah.
It's not like a retro
Or maybe it's a
Bluetooth
thing. Maybe it is, I haven't checked.
Yeah.
Speaking
It
of
looks
checking,
good.
let me double check that the stream is okay. Yeah, I see the levels okay and people are here. Yeah, just wanted to make sure that I didn't forget to press any buttons because I'm in the janky setup again.
No, I haven't noticed any issues with the setup. So,
Yeah, it's just not the good camera or microphone. And I had to press more buttons because I don't have my controller. Anyway, Cwits, how about you start us off today?
Okay, thank you guys, I'm finished. To be honest, I'm started doing something for past 4 months. I'm slowly pushing myself to start doing things, and I'm finally trying to do more and more, but it's getting hard enough for me. There is a bunch of reasons of that, but I don't want to dig deep in that stuff. So yeah, I'm
Fair
trying to rewrite my code to make it more prettier, but to be honest, it feels like nothing pretty much changed yet. So I'm not sure if I'm doing better now or I'm doing worse. But yeah, finally I've got some microcontrollers from AliExpress. Previous time I've ordered wrong controllers and I waste more than month on that. But now right controllers came, so probably soon I will be trying to solder things together and test how it works and things.
Exciting.
Probably.
You're not getting your hopes too high?
That's my major problem. When I've got some idea, some ambiguous idea for myself, at the start I'm doing a lot of things, as we could see in the previous year, but then I'm or burnout or something, I don't know, and now it requires me a lot of energy to push myself to do something, and I'm not sure how to deal with it.
I can relate to that, and in my experience, in my projects, you just gotta take it, the fact that sometimes it's not flowing and it takes a couple months, sometimes even more, but in the end you will circle back to it and you will make progress again and it will be exciting again. I think it's hard to just hack your way into getting excited about something. You just gotta wait. I don't think there is any magic thing you can do. What do you all think? Fotis and Bo, how do you handle with this kind of issue?
Yeah, that's the thing. You just soldier through, I guess.
I didn't. Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry. I was trying to download something that I want to show you guys, but I lost the password.
Oh,
So
no.
what was the question?
When you get unmotivated with a project, how do you get
Oh,
back
yeah.
to it?
I leave it on the side and do a different project entirely.
I guess that's my approach. Yeah.
I always have my hands full, whether I like it or not. Sometimes it's a client, sometimes it's me. If I hate a project the client asks me, I'll do one of my stuff to get some motivation and energy, and then I go back to the client, and I feel motivated again.
Yeah. Our brains need variety, and
Exactly.
there is nothing you can do about it.
I can assume that this problem faces more or less all people in this world. You cannot be just motivated like 100% of all your time and just do things. No, okay, there is a couple persons who can do that, but maybe there is something wrong with them.
There's something wrong with them. That's true.
But yeah, that's probably all. Oh, okay, I'm running my Raspberry Pi from HDD now, like hard drive, not from SD card, and it performs slightly better. That's probably cool.
It is. Okay, and do you have any other plans for the next weeks?
Keep pushing myself to do things that I don't like right now.
I guess it should be phrased differently. It's to start liking the other things again and then doing them.
Is there a specific setback, or is it just generally a sort of low on inspiration, low on motivation, or did you hit a glass ceiling or something?
I'm not sure, to be honest. On the one side, rewriting code that you wrote already isn't good motivation factor. The other hand, you're trying to achieve how to say that correctly. You're trying to make it better, but still it does not look way much better than you expect. So yeah, some sort of that things.
All right.
Yeah, I guess when you are doing any kind of refactoring, you gotta have an objective. For instance, I want to make this part of the system easier to change, or I want to make this code faster or something. Well, if you want to make it faster, it's not exactly refactoring, but still, you have to have some objective, because there is a million ways you can develop something, and if you just keep exploring that space, then you can get disoriented.
Yeah, sounds like it how it feels now. But well, what we can do with that?
Sometimes it feels like that, but then you do find something that you like, a style you like, or a naming convention, or a technology, whatever the case may be, and then when you find that, you feel good again.
Probably you're right. I can't argue that. So I will agree with you.
Yeah, I think you just need more time. That's it.
We will see.
All right, looking forward to hearing about the news 2 weeks from now.
I just remember the quote. I don't know who said this, but it was like, sometimes you need to let go to see if there was anything worth holding on to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all have our drawers and shelves full of unfinished projects. And I guess I do feel guilty about them, but at the same time, they are what they are.
Yeah, some
Not
of
every
them are
project
not
has to
meant
be
to.
finished.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes you don't. You begin and you're like, you don't have to chase this, but you're glad about starting it at least, because it made me become more precious about your choices.
On the other hand, it also can be counted as some kind of experience, because you learn some new things, and maybe it's time to go further.
Yeah, there is always something you will take and you cannot see now, but you will use these things later.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's my update for today.
Fair enough. And Fotis, are you done with the things that you wanted to show?
Almost give me a few seconds and I will be almost ready.
Okay.
Let's go to load.
Sorry guys that my update sounds similar for past couple of months.
We are on the same
okay.
boat, Cwits. We are on the same boat. I am now changing the name. It's no longer C++ Digital Signal Processing at JUCE. It's just hanging out with my internet friends. No pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a glaring lack of C++.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to jump
But we
on
have
that.
learned a lot of things along the way, right?
Oh yes, oh yes.
It's like that cliche that says, maybe C++ was the friends we made along the way.
But Cwits, you're writing in C++.
I'm ready. Oh yeah, Cwits is the only one who has done something significant in C++.
At least I'm trying. I'm not sure that I'm writing in C++ because I don't have anyone who can tell me that I'm doing things right or I'm doing things wrong.
Well, if it works, it works.
At least,
Anyway,
yeah,
I'm ready. Sorry.
it kind of works, but still, I'm not sure.
Don't downplay yourself. You're doing a great job.
Yeah, you have impressed us all.
And hello, Synchrotron. Thanks for stopping by.
So who's on the chat? Tail, Mage,
course.
Arya.
Yeah,
Oh.
we're still waiting for all these people to stop by.
Arya is here. Nice. Haven't seen him in a while.
No? How's it going, Arya?
Where is Arya? Can I not see him because I only see top chat, live chat? No, same deal. Where is Arya?
So yeah, can you see my screen?
Hang on, didn't you just say that Arya was here? Where is he?
I don't know. Fotis knows him.
No, I didn't. Cwits did.
What?
Who said anything about Arya?
Leandro.
Did I mishear something?
I guess if we say his name 3 times, he's gonna show up. Anyway, Fotis, what do you have for us?
Okay, do you see my screen?
Yes.
What was that voice? Anyway.
It was Arya from Beyond.
Oh my god. So yeah, we have some exciting news about the HISC front. First of all, let's go to the GitHub page. You see, I have started to categorize my 1,600 likes on GitHub. I'm still not done, obviously. Now, the latest stable version of HISC has added an integration with Libre Wave Rhapsody player. What is this? Let's see. So one of the HISC developers, David Healy, he's not the main developer, that's Quest of Heart, but I support David Healy on Patreon. And for those of you who are watching this and you're working with HISC, I highly recommend you support David Healy because he posts some exclusive YouTube videos on his Patreon that are not public. Anyway, so David has been making some of his own plugins with HISC for a long time. For example, this is one of his older ones, Sophia Woodwinds, which is running on its own plugin. This plugin was created with HISC. But he recently created Rhapsody. What is Rhapsody? Well, the absolute madman David went ahead and created his own contact using HISC, which is amazing. And I know that some people are going to say, oh my God, another one, another sampler, really? And yes, I have been vocal about the numerous samplers and the saturated market in the past. But there is, if you want to stand out from the crowd in this saturated market, you have to have some specific killer features, at least in the free software field. Now, Rhapsody is not open source yet, but it is created with HISC, so there is that. And if you want to try it out, there is a free, for the time being, library called Emerald Flute. I don't know how much this sale is going to last, so hurry. Now, let's go to this.
What makes a sound library free as in freedom? The format used to store the samples?
Yeah, it's basically, David explains it in the About section. Freedom means blah, blah, blah. So these essential freedoms, and it takes you to the GNU page, if you see in the bottom left. So a program that doesn't respect its users' freedom is proprietary software. So if you want to be valued, so it's not freeware with free software. So basically, his sample libraries are free of copyrights, and he wants to do something because you could get like a free sample library for contact, but that doesn't make it 100% free. It's free as in beer, not as in speech. You have seen this distinction before. And so there is a video by Venus Theory, which is called "There is a Problem with Using Samples," which details the problems that you may get when you're using samples from companies such as Loopmasters or Cymatics and stuff. And I will post a link in the chat later. So now what I wanted to show about this, does that answer your question, the Libre stuff?
It is kind of hazy because in theory, I guess it boils down to the format used to store the samples is open in the sense that you can look at the WAV file, so to speak. And
well, it is.
I guess in theory,
I
guess in theory you could buy the library and redistribute the library yourself, because that's what free as in freedom means. It's kind of
as
odd.
long as it's in the public domain. If the samples are in the public domain, you are free to sell them, but I don't see any mention of public domain here.
Oh well.
Anyways, and I think that you can actually open up those CH1 files in HISC, but David must have implemented some kind of encryption because these libraries have a license key. Anyway, so I excuse the latency. I don't have my audio software here. I'm using the onboard computer sound card on my friend's computer, but when I first watched the video where David was demonstrating Rhapsody, there was a specific feature that made me scream, "Oh my God! How come nobody has thought of this before, at least in free software?" And it's this thing right here. So Rhapsody is the first free sampler that allows you to individually adjust the volume of each articulation, and I'll explain why this is a big deal. You can do it in Contact, but it's very difficult. You have to open up unless the developer has created it on the GUI, you have to go inside the Contact settings, which are very annoying, very small fonts that you cannot resize and blah, blah, blah. And I think that very few commercial samplers allow you to do this. I know that East-West Opus can do it, but you can't use East-West Opus if you don't own an East-West product. It cannot load WAV files. It only loads their format. So why is this a big deal? Well, there could be like a moment where some libraries may not be as balanced as you would need in each different articulation, and sometimes you need an articulation to sound softer than another one. And if you didn't have this option, then you had two other options. First, you had to either had to automate the volume of the VST itself, like here. So, but if you were playing a sample from a different articulation or with a long release time or a long reverb tail, then that would be also ducked if you automated the volume. And the other trick would have been to use the MIDI velocity trick, where you make a MIDI note sound lower in a lower velocity. But that could also cause a problem, because what if the sample library has velocity layers? Then that would mean that when you turn down the velocity, you trigger a different sample, and sometimes you don't want that. For example, there are some guitar libraries that I have used in Contact that have different articulations mapped into the velocity layers, and that causes a big issue. And
how about just instantiating the plugin 5 times? That's what I do.
Yeah, that is the best option. So yeah, it's amazing that Rhapsody allows you to do this, and even in East-West Opus, it's not as pretty, it's not as intuitive as this. I mean, Opus is a great player. It's better than their previous VST, which was called Play. That VST was terrible, and they admit it quietly. Opus was much better, but it's way too complicated. Sometimes you need a leaner option that gives you the stuff you need in your face. And also you do have some options here that are very reminiscent of East-West Opus. For example, the option to use disk streaming via SSD. You have the semitone, the microtuning directly on your hands. You can use, and it also works as a standalone, so you can use it. And it's just version 1.1, so imagine what could happen in next versions. I am going to suggest to David that in a future version, maybe we could have like a specific effects section for its articulation. That would be interesting. For example, you could add a reverb on the staccatos or a distortion on the staccatissimo. That would be fun. Or maybe I could make a fork of it and make it myself if David wants to give me the source code, the source file for HIC. And now where do I fit in all of this? Well, now that HIC allows you to, has a template and an exporter for Rhapsody, that means that obviously if I'm going to make other experimental synth stuff like Wild, those are going to be on their own separate VST. But I have some ideas in mind for some simple sampled instruments, and I'm thinking of, okay, if instead of fudging around with exports for cross-platform and stuff, I could just make them for Rhapsody since it's cross-platform. And I'm going to ask David how could a third-party developer could create sample libraries for Rhapsody. Maybe he could host them in his own site. Maybe I could host them in my Ko-fi page for crispy samples, and we could arrange a deal. So win-win, right?
Yeah.
The future is bright for the freeware open source community of samples.
But the samples are free as in freedom.
Yes,
and
they are.
The player is not.
Yeah, it's free as in beer.
I see.
Or maybe it is.
Free beer? Beg your pardon?
Yeah, this is a distinction. So a guy called Admiral Bumblebee, who has used to be in the Reaper community, but not anymore.
Okay.
He did a nice distinction between free as in beer and as in speech. What does free mean? He uses his own different terms, libre as in speech and gratis as in beer. So gratis means that you don't have to pay for a software, but that doesn't. Oh, that answers your question. Okay, Rhapsody is released as the GNU GPL. That means it's free as in beer and as in speech. Boom.
That makes more sense.
Yeah, but there are, for example, some free samples from Loop Masters or Native Instruments that you can download for free. They're free as in beer, but not as in speech. You cannot create some derivative work except for music of your own. So you can fork Rhapsody. I can ask for David via Patreon to give me some stuff. And yeah, it's unfortunately you cannot load it in Pro Tools because Avid. That's the only answer, because Avid, the SDK for AAX is terrible, as like anyone knows. Oh, and there is the one I said, another player, really? And yeah, you can read the stuff. You can also watch the many videos that David has created. So David is like Patreon. He totally deserves your Patreon money. Please support Leandro. Please support David via Patreon. Links are in the description. I do, so yeah. Oh, Rhapsody will run in FL Studio. Okay. I really love that it has a separate question just for FL Studio. So yeah, this is my update more or less for today. I couldn't work on Wild because I had some I had some stuff to do both with my job and with my soundtrack clients. I'm not gonna give you some details yet, but some big stuff is happening regarding my career as a soundtrack composer for short films, and I'm very excited to share some info once the deal is finalized.
Cool. So, congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll have some stuff to add to my IMDb library. Did you know that I have an IMDb page? I do. Nope. I'm gonna flex my IMDb. I only have like 2 movies. Yes, 2 short movies, but hey, I have one. And these are both for Fiverr clients, and you'll see some more stuff from me very soon. And did I want to say something else about Rhapsody? Let me think. Oh, also this thing, I don't think I have seen this in a sample player before, the curve. It's not a very important thing, but it's nice to have something different for a change.
I guess and if you had a long attack, you
can create this. Yeah, if you had a long attack, you can adjust the curve. Yeah, and also you have AHDSR. There is a hold, but this is beautiful that you can create your own vector velocity. And can you create curves as well? Oh no. You can't, but with the right click, you can delete a point. I would like if there was an option to, maybe there is to create the curve. I'm holding Control, Alt, or Shift, but nothing's happening. Oh well, I'll ask David about this as well. So yeah, free software, free stuff. Make the software free because we deserve it. You guys did hear about the controversy about Waves Audio?
I heard about it.
Yeah.
Do you all use Waves plugins?
No, I avoided them like the plague. Even when I used the free trial, I was so disappointed that I would uninstall them. I hate many things about Waves Audio, so the thing that they got beaten by this whole subscription is like a beautiful revenge for me. Like you got what you deserved. I know I'm being very mean-spirited right now, but they have done many things in the past to insult the customers. And there is even some videos on their previous YouTube page. I'm not gonna share them, but they were very infuriating. So the fact that they continue being so greedy, and now I think they have issued an apology for it. But at the same time, remember
they're backpedaling on the subscription thing.
I think they did. DJ Av McCree did a video about it, and I haven't watched it yet. He released it just a few hours ago, and I'm gonna watch it. I'll post the link in the chat as well. And also remember what happened with Bitwig, where they backpedaled on that spectral suit, but they ended up releasing those for free. And I remember when they did the recap of the year in 2022, they did made a reference on it in a very sneaky way, as a way of saying mea culpa. They said, and no one is going to forget the launch of the spectral suit. So yeah, way to save their butts.
Well, that's just it, right? They didn't release this feature for free. People are already paying for the doll. Anyway.
They did release, yeah. Exactly, yeah. You still have to pay for it. You just don't have to pay extra.
Yeah. All right.
But yeah, we'll see where the Waves Audio situation goes. Oh, one more thing. Also, did you see? Oh god, my head is stuck right now. Did you see the latest video by Air Windows?
I did not.
We always go back to Air Windows. So Air Windows is made a new Chebyshev-like filter, and he plans to create some new reverbs. He is I'm trying to buy a Bricasti reverb and do it, which is funny because CH Maha, who I'm talking with recently, has already named some of the reverbs. By the way, look at all those new ports of Air Windows on JSFX. So if you haven't already, please do check out CH Maha via repack and install this. And if you're wondering about those weird names, you can just go to this the code and you can see the plugin it's based on. So you can, like we said in the previous video, you can compare the code of the JSFX to the code of the original Wave Air Windows plugin. And I'm still scrambling to find a way on how to implement the Air Windows plugins in HISE. I'm gonna show the link to the forum again, because maybe this time somebody has the answer for me. I know that we haven't, this is an understatement, but we haven't checked out C++ as much as we needed to. But, oh no, that's not me. Oh, there is me. Okay. So maybe that's my homework for next time. SNX is the scripting language for HISE.
The one that looks like JavaScript, right?
Mm-hmm. And let's go to the GitHub of Air Windows to see. I'm not gonna do it right now, but maybe if you guys could give me some pointers. Maybe somebody in the chat. Tail, please help. So let's go to a random plugin, a simple one, for example, Purest Gain. And so we have the H file and the pros.cpp, which is this one. So we have the Purest Gain H, and he says that the variables are in there and the function is in the processor, I guess. Mm-hmm. So these are the names of the variables.
Yeah, you probably can skip most of the public stuff because that's boilerplate for a VST. But okay. Going down to the private stuff, you can see how there are even some, they're indented differently. So these are variables that you will need, and they are defined here but used in the processor. So in this case, it's just gain chase, probably because there is some smoothing going on, and chase speed, which defines the speed of the smoothing,
the smoothing,
that sort of thing. Yeah. So those are the variables you will need, and then in the processor you will find the function that actually implements the effect.
It's right here.
Yeah, and somewhere in there you will see mentions to like the change speed or the chase speed.
And let's compare it to the port of this plugin in JSFX. So we have the Purest Gain again, and
you can cut some corners in JSFX because you don't have to define variables. You can just start using them, and that simplifies things a whole lot. And
maybe I should use a different.
In JavaScript, you cannot just start using variables like that. Well, to some extent you can, but it is weird, so you might as well not. And yeah, but the person is being very faithful to the original code. You can see that the variable names are A, B, C, D, and E, just like Chris from Air Windows writes.
Yeah, he has done a great job. And let's compare this to Galactic.
And in that plugin, there is something more interesting going in the header file. It's not just defining variable names, it's actually defining vectors or arrays or however you want to call them. But anyway, you can see for instance, AIL was the name of an array. And here it's using the free mem trick to sort of allocate that much memory into the global chunk of, well, not global, but into the big chunk of memory you have access to in JSFX.
Mark Heath also made a port of Galactic. I have the Mark Heath. I don't have the repo right now, but I could check it out in his GitHub, I guess. There we go. Repositories. Where are his? Oh, there we go. There is his Galactic JSFX. Oh, he's using the same stuff, more or less.
Yeah, it is a very common trick.
The same arrays.
And it is also how I have done this in the past. It's a common trick.
Oh, and yeah, and you can see the delays. Are these the arrays in the Galactic processor CVP? Oh, there are the stuff, the same AAL, AAR. So you're using the region, the regenerators. You can see Cwits has put a lot of notes on his code.
Well, that's too good, because with these variable names you need some comments.
And Chris is considering releasing this pretty late with vibrato on its own plugin, so that will be beautiful. And finally, I want to share with you guys something that's it'll please a lot of code geeks. It's not related to audio, but it should be interesting for you guys. It's called the beautiful code of Doom 3. So I'm gonna share this link as well. No. Okay. So yeah, you can. Oh, come on. So many ads. I don't have ad blocker in this browser. But yeah, it's probably the cleanest and nicest looking code I've ever seen. I'm not gonna go into details, and I think some of the screenshots are missing. Maybe if I use archive.org, maybe I'm gonna find the screenshots as well. But anyway, this article is very interesting, and has some good C++ practices. So there's your study group C++ stuff for today. You're welcome.
Maybe it inspires Cwits in terms of architecture and structure.
I'm looking already.
You like it, Cwits?
I don't know. I have to check.
Okay, I'll post the link. Anyway, so that's my update for today. I hope you liked it. I hope you found some stuff interesting. So yeah, free software, free as in beer as in this pitch.
Preach it, brother. All right, Bo, what do you have for us?
Not super much.
Same here. High five.
Yeah. Let's share screens. I have been banging my head against ChatGPT, and I'm liking it less and less.
Oh no.
What?
Well, desktop, let's see, so I can share. You see my screen?
Yes, we see your screen.
Good. So
sorry, guys. Sorry, Bo. I forgot. I wanted to share one more video, but I forgot what it was. Do you guys remember what I said in the beginning of my showcase? I did see in the Waves video and the Doom 3. There was one more video. Oh my God. Maybe I'll have to check the replay. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. I
right.
forget.
So did you share your screen, or did you? Can you see
No,
mine still?
we see you, Bo, and
Okay, cool.
this is trying out the NAND frequency divider code.
Yeah.
What is this?
I did manage to squeeze some information out of ChatGPT on how the old octavers worked. They're using a NAND logic gate. It's just that. Sorry, Fotis.
Nice to see that you're using Soka Labs. They have some very nice stuff. And they're open source, right?
Absolutely. So the NAND gate, this is the code for using a NAND gate. So they're physical on and off thingies, 0 and 1 things. It's just that with sound, it wants to recalculate at every sample, so it doesn't. The NAND gate doesn't work on its own in DSP, in audio DSP, and I haven't managed to make it work. Simple as that. I did find one that does what I want it to do. So this is a JSFX. The code is way beyond me, but this is what it's supposed to do. So it's supposed to produce a square wave divided by 2 from the sine wave, or whatever zero crossing is coming in. So that's what it's supposed to do. But I haven't had any progress. And ChatGPT is good for some stuff and completely effing useless of others. So you need to take that into account when you're trying to use it. It can really, really get you off path and steer you in the wrong directions if you're not careful. So many hours wasted on that, but let's not harp on that. So I have been using you remember the 3EMA thingy?
Oh, hang on. Before we move to that, don't you want to look at the code of the NAND gate thing and try to understand why it isn't doing the thing you wanted it to do?
Yeah, we could do that. Absolutely.
Okay. First of all, let's see if I understand what you wanted it to do. You have this waveform coming in, and what you want is for the output to be just 1 or minus 1 at all times, and
yes,
it flips from 1 to minus 1 when there is a 0 crossing in the original signal. Then it stays at minus 1 until there is another 0 crossing on the original signal. Then it becomes 1 again, and it keeps flipping like that.
Yes.
Okay.
So the end result is supposed to look like this.
But that's not doing it on the 0 crossings. If the input is blue and the output is green, the green wave isn't flipping at 0 crossings.
No, not exactly at the 0 crossing. That's true. This has a lot of extra sort of massaging of the signal. There's a lot of options, and I've only sort of I understand like one of these sliders. so that's the octave down. And you can have the octave dynamic. You can sort of control the octave dynamics of it.
Wow.
And the code is quite elaborate, and I haven't managed to sort of single out what is doing what.
But hey,
Yeah.
Never mind that. If what you want is what we described, we can do that. We can write that code together right now. It's not that difficult.
Awesome.
Here's one way of doing it. You check if the sample is positive.
Yep.
If it is, then the output is 1. Otherwise, the output is -1. The line you have there.
Yep.
Let that be your output.
So x equals.
Just, you know that last line where it says SPL0 equals y, blah, blah, blah?
Yep.
Remove that line and instead have SPL0 equals x. That will give you the behavior we described.
SPLs.
See?
What?
On the zero crossings, it is jumping up, and on the next zero crossing, it's jumping down.
Yeah. Awesome.
But I don't think that that's all you want to do.
No. No, it's supposed to divide by 1. Divide by 2, sorry.
Ah, fair enough. That's okay. Now your output is going to be minus half or half instead of being -1 or 1.
Yeah.
Okay, so far so good, but that's not changing the octave of the signal.
No.
So I don't really understand what the Nand gate is supposed to do.
Yeah, it's minus. I was just double checking something here. So the NAND gate is supposed to, for every x coming in, compare it to y, and this is sort of, it's not y, isn't it? This is sort of the double ampersand.
Well, yeah, the implementation of the NAND gate is correct.
Yep.
You are putting a NAND gate, the inputs are x and y.
Yes.
But I don't really understand how that would give the effect you want of an octaver. I'm not saying it's wrong, I just don't understand how it works. Do you understand how this was supposed to work?
This is what ChatGPT gave me.
Oh.
No, there's the usual. I asked for the. Can you do the implementation of a NAND gate logic in code? And this is what it spat out.
That is correct. This is an AND gate. A NAND gate is an AND, that's the double ampersand, followed by a notch, that's the AND.
And that's the exclamation mark.
And that's the exclamation mark. So that is correct. You are ending and then notching the result, if that makes any sense.
But
yeah.
What is value of y in the expression? Always 0 or?
Oh yeah, you haven't defined y, have you?
Well, not on the very first sample, but on the second one you will have defined, because it is the y that was defined in the previous sample. So it starts as false, it starts as 0, as any variable in JSFX. Then on the second pass, the NAND, so suppose that the first sample is, that's just it. X is going to be 1 or -1. Both 1 and -1 are always truthy. So anything that isn't 0 is true. So true and, to begin with, false, because y starts as false, it's going to be false. Negate that, now y is true. So after the first sample, it is guaranteed, no matter what the input is, it's guaranteed that the first output is going to be y is true. Next time around, true and true, so x is always going to be true. 1 and -1 are true, so x is always going to be true. True and true is true. Negate that, y is 0. So what happens is y is flipping from 0 to 1 every sample.
every second sample.
Well,
No, every sample.
every sample, I would say, but yeah. And then it doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. Yeah, but it is showing the result I predicted. If you zoom in, you see it flipping up and down every sample. But you have to zoom all the way in because you need to see individual samples.
When I actually got it to display something manageable, it changed on every sample.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I suppose that this white rectangle we see is all the lines of it changing from 0 to 1 and 1 to 0.
Yeah.
That's probably.
Yeah.
So, in theory, this is the greatest plugin ever made.
It is a sine wave at half the sample rate. Yeah, so I guess this code that ChatGPT gave you doesn't make a lot of sense. Every individual part is correct, but when you put it together, it doesn't add up to anything meaningful.
No.
You just described the AI in a nutshell.
And also, whenever I try this, it totally, I wouldn't say breaks, but it produces a lot of illogical. I have to restart Reaper a lot in order for it to work. What the hell happened to this? No, did it mute or something? Oh, it's supposed to be running. What in the frick?
It got shy.
What in the fudge?
Yeah. Now this happens. Writing this code, it just shuts down Reaper. It just stops working. I have to restart it. Anyways, so this is where I've been stuck. And John has been very helpful in providing code. We've been bouncing back and forth on Discord DMs. And this is the last thing he sent me, if this makes any sense.
Let's see. So now you have some state variable to check what's the state of the zero crossing situation. It starts as zero crossings. And then if the sample is greater than 0 and the old sample was lower than 0, that means that a zero crossing has happened from negative to positive. And then if that is the case, and if there has been more than 2 zero crossings, then reset the number of zero crossings. And then on the next line, if the number of zero crossings is 0, then x is equal to 1. Okay. And then increment the number of zero crossings. And finally, you capture the old sample for the next time we go around the loop. And you take x, which was set to 1 but never updated again. That doesn't make a lot of sense. You take
the
x and subtract
variable.
half. Yeah, so you should get a signal which is just half all the time.
Yeah, this x variable, I'm thinking, is that a leftover from something? No, there's the left. Sorry.
Yeah, it's set to 1, but then it's never reset. It's never updated. So that suggests that there's something missing. Hang on, let's see if I understand. The purpose of this is to... When the waveform begins, you just let it be. When it crosses 0 the first time, you flip it around. And when the original signal crosses 0 the second time, you stop flipping things around. Is that what you want?
It sounds logical, yes.
So do you want to write that? How about we write that?
Sure.
Okay, we can write what I just described.
Should I just delete all this? All of it?
No, I wanted to share my screen, and now it's saying that I need to open system settings, and it's gonna do stuff. I hate this. Hang on while I figure this out.
It gets junkier.
Yeah, I am showing my face on the stream so that people don't see me typing my password. Yeah. And then it's going to ask me to quit and reopen Skype. That's great. Okay, I see you all in a minute. But you here on YouTube, you still see me. You see me staring at my screen and being a fool. But anyway, while Skype is restarting, let me say hello to Synchrotron. Well, I already said hello. And to Tail. Hello, Tail. And Beats Baston. I never know how to pronounce this last word. Great to see you. Thanks for stopping by. I hope you're having fun. And I am joining the call again. And I hope I will be able to share the screen this time. Okay, coming back to this and to that. And the other one. Oh, isn't this great? I click on join call and it doesn't show the microphone, doesn't show the camera, and I cannot join the call. Rinse and repeat, I guess. And while that's doing its dance, we can start the text editor. And I will want to open my effects folder. Let's go there. And I will call this the octaver. Oh, that's a folder name. Lovely. How do I delete the folder? Oh, that's just great. You cannot delete a folder using this file explorer. Awesome. Or I guess you can. It worked. Even better. And here is Skype. Look at that. Would you look at that? Lovely. Good job, Skype. Okay. Still same story. Well, the microphone is on, not the camera. Now the camera is on.
Clock.
Okay, I'm back. Hello, everyone.
Times flipping from date from.
And can I share the screen this time? I can.
Let's
see.
We were talking about Cwits shift work.
Mm-hmm. And how difficult it is.
Do you have do you like work mornings and evenings alternatively, or?
I guess you're talking to Cwits, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay. And you do know that I'm back on the call, so it means that everyone can hear me.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're making small talk here.
Okay.
I don't know. I think the morning and evening are more or less equal for me.
Okay.
Wait, this is different from Xcode. This is just a code. What is this app?
It's Visual Studio Code. You can see here just code, but it is Visual Studio Code.
Oh, okay.
I guess Visual Studio Code would be too long for the menu bar.
Okay, because I can see in the bottom right that it says EL, so it has a template specific to EL.
Yeah,
Nice.
there is this extension for JSFX. It is called.
Oh.
What is it called? I have it installed.
There is one. What in the?
I just saw that there is one for rebank. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this one, it says rescript, but it actually has syntax highlighting for EEL files as well.
Oh my god, this changes everything.
And I associated JSFX files with this extension. It's
Nice.
just syntax highlighting. It's not IntelliSense or autocomplete, any of the good stuff, but it's a good start. All right.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
Here's how I think about it. We will have this variable called flip, which means, I guess it can be more explicit. Flip polarity. To begin with, it is 0. Every variable in JSFX begins with 0, but I'm declaring it for readability. Then a sample comes in, and we have to check if that sample introduces a zero crossing, which is similar to the code that we were looking at, but in that code it was only checking for crosses between from negative to positive. But I think it would make sense to also check for crosses from positive to negative. So what we can do is check if the current sample is positive and the previous.
Okay, so sorry guys, I would like to see this, but I think I will go sleep.
Fair
Sure.
enough.
No worries. Don't worry.
Thanks for
It
the
was
chat.
great to see you again. You haven't been in the group for a long time. So yeah.
Looking forward
was
to
nice.
talking to you soon.
Bye,
Yeah, bye
Cwits.
guys.
Sweet
Bye.
dreams.
Bye.
Right, so coming back to this, I guess I want to say this in this order. So if the previous was negative and the current one is positive, and just so that if we have a bunch of zeros, then this still works, I'm going to say less than or equal to 0. Or if the previous one is greater than 0 and this one is less than 0, that's going from positive to negative, that's another zero crossing. So if that's the case, then we have a zero crossing. And naturally, since I'm using this variable, I need to store the sample for next time, just like that. Then, if we have a zero crossing, then we want to start flipping the polarity or stop flipping the polarity. So I guess we can write it like this. If it is 0, then 1, otherwise 0. And we can assign that to flip polarity. Yes, there is a smarter way of doing this. We can just do it like this. And that reads even better, I think. And that, I think, is the only thing we want to do when there is zero crossing. So I don't need the parentheses, because this is the only statement in this block. Then, finally, we can actually use this. So if I should flip the polarity, then flip the polarity. Otherwise, don't. And there is a slightly there is a slightly smarter way of doing this, which is to let the flip polarity variable be a multiplier, and then you just multiply SPL0 by a multiplier. But I think that this way reads better. What do you think?
Does this divide by 2?
It does not divide by 2, no.
Okay.
Let's see if this does what I think it should. And as soon as I open Reaper, my audio settings may change and you may not be able to hear me anymore.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Sure.
Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and it seems like the stream can also hear me. Great. So let's have a track that I don't want to hear, so I guess I'm going to remove any outputs and mute the master. And in this track, I can put a tone generator, an oscilloscope, and retrigger on ascend, and then look for the octaver that we just wrote. And note how we are only affecting the left channel. This is both because then you can copy and paste and make this work for the right channel, but also because now we can see the difference between the input and output over here. And I guess I will hold this real quick and we can try and make sense of what's happening here.
Woo! It works! It works!
Yes, it does, because on this part of the wave, both signals agree. And on this part of the wave, the input and output disagree. So I guess we can say, let's start the interpretation here. Both signals agree. Let's say that this was sample 0, so forget anything to the left of the cursor. So we start not flipping the polarity. Great. And then we find a 0 crossing. And then we do flip the polarity. So let's say that not let's say, we can know that green is the output. So it is flipping the polarity and purple is the input. And then we find another 0 crossing on the input and we stop flipping the polarity. Should we? I think we should have stopped flipping the polarity here, but we didn't, because we're still flipping the polarity there. Is this about right? No, we only we start and stop flipping the polarity on different 0 crossings. Did I get this right? Does this look like the thing we talked about?
Sorry, no. That's there should be, if it's sine waves, there should be like one sine going over the two sines on the right channel. So the SPL1 should be one long over 2 cycles of SPL.
Oh, so you wanted the octaver to do the honest to goodness sine wave with half the frequency?
Yeah, but if it's done with a sine wave, well, the thing is, I'd like to imitate those old octavers, those old vintage octavers, because they sound so cool. It's a square wave that's low passed.
Oh yeah, I've seen that before. There's a free. Yeah. There is a free plugin called OCD2. It's 32-bit only and Windows only, but it does do that square wave download that you just said.
I never got it to work.
So that's a different story.
Yeah. So hence the sort of flipping between two states, like a full 0 or a full 1, a full 1 or -1.
Interesting. We can give that a try. So it does not exactly look like what we are looking at here, because we don't want to just flip the polarity or not. What we want is, I guess, to just output -1 or 1 in this part. Let's reload the plugin to see if that makes any sense. Wait a second. This is on hold. That's why I don't see the results.
Oh yeah, that's it.
Okay. So yeah, the green is obviously the output, and it is switching back and forth at half the frequency.
At half the rate. Yeah, exactly. This is it.
This is it. And now what we want is to low pass this.
Yes.
And we know how to do a low pass, but I will do one real quick here just so we can actually see the results. So I'm gonna say that this is like previous output, and already my naming convention is all over the place.
Did you have a regular low pass in your library? Can you import your library?
At some point I probably had, but my library is collecting digital dust at this point, so might as well just rewrite this real quick.
Digital fairy dust.
So this is a low pass filter, and let's see what it looks like. Would you please get out of hold? Thank you. So it is low passing.
Yeah.
but not by much, but it is low passing. And at this point, I think we can leave it at that, because if you change the parameters and the coefficients of the low pass, you get the smoother behavior you wanted, and you are already a specialist when it comes to smoothing things and low passing things. So I think that this
Smooth operator. You're gonna get a copyright strike.
Yeah.
Smooth operator.
When people sing stuff, they always say like they sing stuff like this and they say, "Oh, I'm gonna get a copyright strike." Do they really? Do they really get copyright strikes? I don't think so, right? It's just a joke.
There are weirder things though happening. Remember when Chris from Air Windows was trying to say the plugin bit shift?
Yeah.
And YouTube thought that he was swearing.
Yes.
And so you had to add the pause.
Yeah. Now I think it's more it's poking at the copyright industry. I think that is sort of the frivolous copyright strikes. So.
Okay. That was fun.
Thanks for that, Leandro. I'm going to copy that code.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, by the way, speaking of copying code, I do have something else that Bo would like to check out. You can see the chat, not the KVR link, the one before it, from the stash of Reaper. You know that there are a lot of gems. There are a lot of gems in the Reaper stash that you cannot find in the repack repositories. And this is from Ashcat. You can, in the link, you can find all of his their JSFX, including parameter sample and hold, which I have showcased in a previous study group meeting, and it's one of my favorite JSFX of all time. But apart from that, you will also find a few distortion pedals and amplifiers that he has created. They have created in JSFX. And there is an octave fuzz pedal as well called the Undertaken, and you could check out the code. I looked at it before and it didn't use any of the flip polarity stuff, but I did notice something interesting in their plugins as well, where I think there is a plugin called Tilt Distortion and another one was called NSFW. That's also a distortion that. Don't be scared.
All right.
But they give you the option to only distort one part of the waveform. Chris has also done it in his Purest Worm plugin.
Yeah.
So you can only distort one side of the waveform, or you can apply a different distortion to a different side of the waveform. So that would be nice.
That's a sort
and
of
finally, I posted.
Power amp thing.
Yeah, and also I posted the link to the octaver that I was talking about. Recently, it got an update that it's 0 latency, so I'm very stoked to use it. But I think it's still a 32-bit Windows-only plugin, so make of that what you will.
All right.
But it's still nice to use it.
That octaver OCD2, I've tried it, and it doesn't work on my computer, unfortunately.
Oh. Too bad. So yeah, there you go then.
Also, another thing, while I remember it, you know the slew thing that we made the last time?
Oh yeah.
I think I got it backwards. You're supposed to subtract the other way around. It makes a bit of a difference, but but maybe check that. Do some research.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
I think we subtracted the latest sample from the previous one. I think it's the other way around. You're supposed to subtract the previous one from the latest one.
Oh, okay.
So it's going to make a difference.
Speaking of which, the Undertaken plugin I just mentioned, I saw in the code that there is a variable called slewify. So it does use slew rates in a way that I haven't figured out yet, but you will, I guess.
I tried understanding that code. Nope, beyond me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the way to advance JSFX for us.
Yeah. Thank you, Leandro.
For now.
Absolutely. My pleasure. And you were going to mention other things about the EMA stuff. Do you want to
Yes.
get to that?
Yeah, I've tried it a bit on music, and to my brain, it sounds better. It sounds like a better high pass, but that might be my brain. I think it's going to require a lot more testing, but it does sound cleaner somehow. One thing though, it produces clicks, especially at the beginning of things as you start the song or you start audio or something. So what I haven't tried yet, but I mean to try see if the clicks are removed. I've added a small level of noise, so like minus 90 dB of noise.
Interesting.
See
can we see the
works.
code? Can you start sharing the screen again?
Yeah, sure. I thought I was sharing the screen.
And I guess to stop a click, you would add noise? It depends on where the click comes from.
Yeah, I think it just goes berserk as the sort of audio goes into the plugin. It just goes, the calculations just go berserk. So I added a noise to the, can you see the screen now?
Yes, I can see that.
Yeah. So here's the added noise. So I added it to the S0 and S1 variables. So before the low passing EMAs starts calculating, this is tiny level of noise. And I've also, this is a variable level of noise, so I can see. Oh.
By the way, after this, if you're interested, I can share my screen again and I can show this OCD2 thing with Leandro's tone generator, JSFX. You can see how it works. Maybe you can get some ideas. The cool thing about OCD2 is that it comes built in with an oscilloscope.
All right.
So you can literally see what it does to the waveform.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm going to try see if this fixes things, if it changes the sound in any way, or sort of different noise levels, because I guess minus 60 should be inaudible. But minus 60 shows up on Bertram, but Bertram is not audio, so.
Yeah, it is a bit of a janky solution to the problem.
Thank you so much for that compliment.
Because, well, ideally we would find the source of the click.
Yeah.
And understand where it's coming from, and maybe it is avoidable somehow. Maybe it's just a variable that you can set to 0 or something like that. If that doesn't work, perhaps you could just, right when playback starts, you could fade in.
Yeah.
Just a couple samples of fading. That could help.
Yes.
And then you wouldn't introduce noise in the entire signal all the time.
Yeah, that was my first thought, to sort of zero it and then have, just like I said, fade in, or you have a serial variable that it starts with, so that you can sort of ease into it. But that, I don't know, the noise, I'm hoping it will give an analog kind of feel to it. Maybe it might be the crappiest idea ever. It might be the best idea ever.
Well, and also it is true that JSFX adds, I'm gonna say noise. It's not really noise, but it does add a very small signal to the samples anyway.
A couple of digits. So that's how the sort of divide by 0 works, isn't it?
Well, no, it is for the denormalization. To get rid of the denormalized numbers.
But you said, Leandro, that it is possible to remove that thing?
It is, if you need. Maybe you cannot have any other signal added to the original signal you're processing, or something like that. You can turn off with a special variable that you define in the init section, and you can turn off this processing.
Okay, I really need some help with this. I could send a message to Discord later. Because
okay,
I want
yeah, you can
to...
do that, but it's not that difficult. Hang on. I guess you
But
on
do you
Skype are not seeing this, but people on the stream are seeing this.
All right.
But I will just check real quick. There is some special variables and yeah, it is this variable that you set. X for extension, no denorm. And then you set
Alright.
that, and the
Okay.
anti-denormal noise that is added to the input is no longer added to the input for you.
Okay, I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
Do you think that would fix this? No.
I don't think so. Well, it's hard to tell because we don't know where the click is coming from, but I
No.
don't think so. Typically, the solution for clicks is to smooth things out, not to add noise.
Yeah.
The noise is the denormal noise is usually to deal with like what happens to filters when infinite impulse response filters when the signal goes to zero. Not
Yeah.
just very quiet, but literal zero. When there is no item on the track in Reaper and you're playing over that, the inputs are literally zero. And then your filter could start working with lower and lower and lower numbers.
Mm-hmm.
And that will have, it will have an effect in the processing because you will get into numbers that are so small that the computer struggles to compute, thinking that you need that precision when in fact you don't. So in a nutshell, that's what the denormal story is. And in this case that we are talking about, that's not the issue, I don't think.
No. Since I'm adding 9 to the sample value and I am multiplying and then dividing, and then I'm just thinking that the it just goes berserk. The numbers goes off the range. That's what I think is happening. It gets a sort of a weird value, and the calculations just goes nuts for a few samples.
I see.
Hence the click. That's my theory why it's happening.
Unfortunately, I cannot show you guys the OCD2 thingy because something is going wrong with Reaper on this machine, but I should remind myself to do it next time.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm gonna make a note.
No worries.
Okay.
So, did you have anything to show us? Did you want to, Leandro? Did you want to do Euler?
Yeah, so
Calculations?
I guess we can switch to my update now, and I can start sharing my screen here with you all on Skype. So, my update, the work I did over these 2 weeks was, well, I didn't do anything, but I thought about just doing one of the little Project Euler problems together, because that's always fun. So,
Oh yeah.
and I think it's called, yeah, Project Euler, and let's find the archives, probably, yeah. And I suppose that this is in the order in which these problems were created, because the number of people who solved them goes down. So let's try this first one, and try to write this in C++. I can close this, and yeah, we will be doing C++ now. And
Excellent.
Awesome.
how about we just go to my downloads folder, how about that, and create, or even better, we do have a repository for this study group. So let's go there.
Yeah. Yes, we do.
And we have plugins, and I will create a folder here, Project Euler. And then 1.cpp.
Is it being updated in real time, or do you have to press a button?
You mean for you to see the file I created?
Yeah, in GitHub.
Yeah, I will have to press some buttons for you to see that.
Okay.
And I will press the button when time comes. In fact,
Okay.
There are changes on GitHub that are not on my machine, so I'm going to grab the changes from there. All right. Multiples of 3 or 5. If we list all the natural numbers below 10 that are multiples of 3 or 5, we get 3, multiple of 3, 5, multiple of 5, 6, multiple of 3, and 9, multiple of 3. The sum of these multiples is 23. Find the sum of all the multiples of 3 and 5 below 1000.
Ooh.
How about that? Sounds like fun.
Sweet.
So to begin with, we need to define a function that will be called as soon as our program starts. And that's usually called the main function, and I was hoping to get some autocomplete, but it seems like I won't get. So let's try to just define this by hand. This function has to be called main, and it's going to return an integer that represents whether the program succeeded, where 0 represents success and any other number represents an error. So just by doing this, our program should compile, run, and not do anything. Let's see if that's true. I will call a compiler. The input will be our CPP file. And the output can be 1. Just the number 1, that's the name of the file. And there is no such file because I'm not in the right directory. And now, in this directory, there is a file called 1. And if I check what kind of file it is an executable, which means that I can run it. And I run and it doesn't do anything. Great. Next, we want to compute this information that we are looking for. So we will have to loop over integers, and this is going to be our candidate. It's going to start at 0. Doesn't matter if it starts at 0 or 1, because we know that it's not going to be a multiple. Or you know what, I'm going to start at 1 just in case. And we want to stop at 1000 or below 1000. So we want to stop before 1000. And we want to increment just like that. Then we want to check if it is a multiple of 3 or a multiple of 5. So we can take the candidate, ask for the remainder of the division between the candidate and 3, and check if it is 0. Because if that remainder is 0, then the candidate is divisible by 3. Or if the candidate is divisible by 5. If that's the case, then we want to add to our running sum, which we don't have yet. So we have a sum that starts at 0, and if that's the case, sum plus equals the candidate. Good. So now at this point in the code, the sum should have the correct value. But we don't have a way of showing that. So at this point, I need to include IO stream. And then I can see out the sum and an end line, something like that. But I'm obviously missing something. Can the error give me some help? Use of undefined. Did you mean std cd out? Yeah, probably. And probably that as well.
Is this standard?
It means standard, yes. And I don't know how to do an end line.
No, I'm thinking that too. Isn't it just end line as it's?
But you know what? I don't need any end line. It will print the answer, and that's all we need.
Yeah, if you have
so
the
let's
STDs.
compile again. And it is missing C out. So it was not IO stream that I needed to import. Or either that, or I am compiling this CPP file, but CLang thinks it's a C file. That could be that, because it is the linker that is throwing an error message here. Okay. CLang help. And oh boy, this is a long help.
Whoa.
Pipe less. And we need to find a way to specify the language. I think it's -x. Oh, there's 1,000 of those. Yeah, -x language. Treat subsequent input files as having type language. Perfect. So CPP, unrecognized language CPP, C++.
Oh.
Okay. And
On the
still
fly
the simple
debugging.
hasn't been found. So now I'm questioning whether IO stream is really the thing I need. And it seems to be. Just in case, I'm gonna go to like learn CPP in Y minutes.
Oh.
It is
That's a
including
nice
IO
website.
stream, so I got that right. And it is using namespace std, so it is probably under std. That's where it comes from. So all of this looks correct. I wonder if they have any kind of example of the invocation for clang. They don't. Clang C++ example. I'll take it. Oh, if I call it as clang++, it will interpret this as a C++ file. That's handy. And now it compiles. And now it prints a number. And we get that number. And the % here is just Visual Studio Code, the terminal in Visual Studio Code saying, this program didn't output a new line at the end. But whatever, we don't care about that. Now, how do I submit an answer? I think that there is a way for me to submit an answer. Oh, I think I need to sign in for that. But I guess for that I need to register. Unless, that is, I already have an account.
The resellers will wait.
Sign in. I do.
Awesome.
Ah. Oh, that's helpful. Okay. Okay. You can see that in the past I have solved problems. I guess that's what this check mark means. Solved. Yeah, I have solved 49 problems of Project Euler in the past. But whatever. The answer completed a long time ago. That's true. Probably like 10 years ago. But the answer is this. And was that the answer we got? Yes, we got it right. Yay!
Awesome.
Yay! Good
That was
work.
fun.
C++, finally.
And I'm gonna delete this file. Keep just the source. That was fun. Do you want to do another one?
Yeah, could you do a Verlet integration? Verlet integration?
Hang on. Oh. Tail is giving the answer. End of line. That's how you put a new line. Or do it the C way. That's a very Tail answer. And Mage is here. Hello, Mage.
Hello, Mage. Hello, Tail.
Hello.
Okay, let's do another one. And you had a request. Which? Oh no, not that. Hang on. How do I see?
Could you do it in JSFX though?
Oh, you wanted to do the same one but in JSFX?
No, a Verlet integration. And also,
Is that here in this page?
No, it's a different thingy.
Oh, what's that?
Verlet.
Again, me and the smooth operator. It's used in
Something like this?
Physics simulations. So a lot of games use it to make motions of characters look natural.
Is this the right Wikipedia page?
That's the one.
Okay. Integration without
Wait, are you
velocities.
talking about the code that is used for crowds in video games?
No, not clouds. No.
Crowds, many
Crowds.
characters.
No, not crowds.
No.
It's a way to make sort of motions look natural. It's a sort of you know about keyframes in animations.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so
And
I think that this may be a bit too much for the time, but from what I'm gathering here, from just glancing at these equations, these are things we have done in the past, in previous streams. In particular, we were doing this ping pong delay. That was kind of a gimmick because it wasn't ping pong left to right, but ping pong in the sense of a ping pong ball being dropped on the floor. And we sort of simulated the times in which the ball would ping on the floor, and it was using these sorts of equations. But I'm not sure I know what this is, so I can take a look, and maybe we can look at this next time. But and we can do it in JSFX if you want. I'll keep this around for the future, but let's do another C++ simple thing here, and I will check this link using Chrome so I don't see the answer right away. Okay, let's do this other one and then we'll wrap things up. Even Fibonacci numbers. Each new term in the Fibonacci sequence is generated by adding the previous two terms. By starting with 1 and 2, the first 10 terms will be those. By considering the terms in the Fibonacci sequence whose value do not exceed 4 million, find the sum of the even valued terms. Fair enough. So again, boilerplate, and I guess, and I am writing all of this by hand again on purpose because I want to get C++ under my fingers. So I guess the first issue is we need to iterate over numbers between... Oh, no, it's not that. We just need to start generating Fibonacci numbers. That's what we need to do. So we'll have an integer that is... Integers can represent 4 million, right? Size t... Not size t. Probably like C++ integer size. 4 bytes. That's more than 4 million. We're good. So we will need to keep track of the current Fibonacci number and the two previous ones. So current previous and previous two. And I guess I will order these variables chronologically. So by starting with 1 and 2. By starting with 1 and 2. And then the first terms will be those. I think I'm gonna change this ever so slightly to start with 0 and 1, just so that if we start with 0 and 1, it is equivalent, but we start a little bit before, and then the current will have a chance of being the number 2, and we'll count that without having to do any extra work. So let's just start a while loop that will keep looping forever, and we'll compute the current Fibonacci to be the sum of the previous two Fibonacci numbers, just like that. And then we will say that the previous is equal to the current, and the previous 2 is equal to previous 1. Just like that. Does this make sense? The order of these lines is crucial for the thing to work. And I think this is correct. Sum the previous two, then store previous two and previous one, and then overwrite previous one with the current. All of that checks out for me. Let's see. Then we want to not exceed 4 million. So if the current is greater than 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, break out of this loop. Finally, we want to do a sum, a running sum. Is the sum going to fit in an integer? Probably. Let's hope so. And we only want to add to the sum if the current number divided by 2 has a remainder of 0. Oh, I'm showing my JavaScript ways.
Yeah, I was just gonna point that out.
And
once a JavaScript, always a JavaScript.
And then see out the sum. std see out the sum. Okay. Does anyone see any obvious mistakes?
No.
No such file or directory. That's because it's not in the right directory. How about that? There you go. And this is our answer. Is it the correct answer? Completed in the dim and distant past. We got the right answer. Okay, you can see that these problems are fairly straightforward, but they do exercise the syntax and issues like, is this variable going to, or is this value going to fit in this type of variable, or am I going to overflow? So it does get C++ under your fingers, and it is quite fun.
Nice.
So I guess
in your face, Euler.
Huh?
In your face, Euler. C++ is smarter than you.
So I guess I will document the way that I called clang in a make file. And also I will have a make all that makes 1 and 2. So now I can run make any compiled stuff. Look at that. Look at me, all grown up, writing make files and writing C++. Very proud of this. So Fotis, these are the buttons I had to press. Now that I press these buttons, you can see this stuff at GitHub.
Oh, awesome. But didn't you say that there were some stuff on GitHub that were already ahead of the curve?
Oh yeah, I already pulled those.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Phew.
All right, that was fun. Thanks for joining me on this one. And
thank you.
Thank you.
We'll do more of this in the future. It's my silly excuse for doing some C++.
Yeah,
that's
awesome.
So
next time I'll already have another change of scenery. I'm going to visit my folks for the Easter vacation. We celebrate Easter in a different week than other Westerners. We're Christian Orthodox. This is a Greek religion.
And it is always 1 week before, right? Or something like that. It's always a fixed offset.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The fixed offset. I like that. I'll keep it.
Yeah.
It's the DC offset of holidays.
All right. So, thank you, first of all, Fotis and Bo for joining me, and Cwits who had to leave, but thanks to Cwits as well. And thank you, Tail and Synchrotron and Mage and Beats.
That's Florian.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Sorry.
I know. We have written code together before. Yeah. So thank you everyone for joining us. It is always a pleasure to have you all here. and I'm looking forward to seeing you again soon. Not making any promises this time. I already broke too many promises to keep making them, but we will continue working on fun stuff and meeting regularly. All right. Let me press the buttons and say goodbye.
Yeah.
Free
Bye.
everyone.
Say that again. We didn't catch.
Free software. Free as in beer and as in speech. Viva la revolución, comrades.
All right. See you soon. Bye.
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 Thank you for watching the stream. You know how great it has been. Or maybe it sucked, and I am glad that you stuck with me. And so we'll all be back together for some more coding or talking or chilling. The next time I'll be streaming.